The non-certified teacher program in South Carolina, which I need to remind you was created because Republicans treated teachers in South Carolina like garbage, will make South Carolina students stupid again. Go ahead and watch my previous videos if that interests you. The non-certified teacher pilot program in South Carolina isn't designed to just help struggling schools, but also, according to them, excellent schools. Let's actually think about why that might be for a second. If I were someone who wanted to make a bunch of money or make my friends money or try to push an agenda, I would find any justification whatsoever to cut funding to public schools. It's way too dangerous for me for people to get an education, to learn the importance of data, and to think for themselves, especially for free. I just hope people don't think about it too hard, because if they do, then they might realize that the schools that are doing well might be doing well because they receive a lot of funding already. Then I'd also say that schools that aren't doing as well don't deserve as much money. So the teachers, the people in charge of our children, the next generation, don't deserve a good salary. So we run all the teachers that want good pay out. Well, now we gotta hire people that we can exploit, people that we don't have to pay as much. Who can we pay less, though? I know. People who are already struggling to find a job with the degree that they already have that didn't go into teaching. They're perfect. We can exploit those people, and we don't even have to certify them right away either. Why would we? We don't want people to get a good education. We want to keep them dumb. But we do want to make it look like we care enough, and just enough to keep these idiots voting for us. By the way, I'm not kidding. These unqualified teachers only have to prove that they're enrolled in a program within 3 years of employment. 3 years of teaching without being certified. That's how low the bar is. Before I go further, I do want to mention that these unqualified teachers do have bachelor's degrees, and that should be fine enough, right? No. Again, I have to bring up that we're only in this position because the government didn't care to actually treat teachers well. They don't care if they provide the best education or even a good education because they just want to use us. Another big issue with this is that these people didn't even want to go into teaching in the first place. Why would we hire people who didn't want to go into teaching in the first place when there's plenty of people who have a degree in education? I don't know about you, but I do believe that Americans deserve the best education that money can get. We should be hiring people who have the drive and the passion to teach kids, not people who are only doing it because they have no other option. Well, at least these people will be certified at some point. That's gotta be worth something, right? It's a solution, even if it's not the best one, right? No. This doesn't make any sense when you think about it from the perspective of those who are in charge. If they believe that the schools are already failing, keeping that same certification process isn't gonna help anything. What's the point? Yeah, now you see the problem. Let me be fair to them. There's also other alternative certification programs that are approved by the state, approved by the Republicans in charge. Let's see the list of these alternative certification programs that Republicans believe in so much. There's quite a few on this list, but there's one that sticks out to me in particular. Teach Right USA. With a name like that, they gotta be teaching something right, right? But I don't know, something about their name is setting off warning signals, but maybe I'm just crazy. Let's see who runs this certification program. Remember, these people will be certifying teachers. The ones that are in charge of our kids, the ones who will be their role models. I want to look at their board members. On Teach Right USA's website, it says that the board is responsible for planning and upholding accountability. Remember that last one because it's really important. So far so good, but unfortunately that isn't good enough for me. I really want to know who these people are. There's 3 of them, but we're only going to look at 2 today because unfortunately I don't have time to look at every single member of every single board of every single certification program. I know, I'm sorry. First up, Dr. Brian Newsom. Look at this guy, what a tie. He's one of 3 board members of Teach Right USA. Look at that. He's also a principal at Gray Collegiate Academy, a charter school. And he's currently vice chair of the South Carolina Education Oversight Committee. This guy happens to have quite a bit of power in different education positions. How are things going over at Gray Collegiate Academy, Doctor? Oh. Recently, their football team was disqualified from participating in their league because they cheated. They try to use an ineligible player, which can lead to a probation, a fine, or even a suspension. Not only are they cheating the other schools from a fair game, they're also cheating their students because all their training and all of their previous games now mean nothing. Instead of owning up, cheating Brian doubled down. He said he felt they followed the letter of the rules. Yeah, try using that defense in court. It won't go well. Only facts matter here, not feelings. And this ineligible player didn't meet the league's full requirements for a residence change. Basically, the family moved, but tried to keep their previous address so that the player's sister could attend a different school. The league's bylaws clearly state that under no circumstances can a family have two residences for eligibility purposes. Unfortunately, no amount of feelings can change that fact. Now, you can believe that it's a dumb rule and you can try to change it, but for now, that's the rule and you have to follow it. It's not like they didn't have a warning, they already had a previous penalty which resulted in the suspension of their head coach and their assistant coach for violating recruiting rules. These guys don't learn their lesson. They love cheating and then crying about the consequences. I'd say that's strike one for upholding accountability. This is concerning, but it isn't even the worst of what Brian has the power to do. If you didn't catch on earlier, his different positions creates massive conflicts of interest. He's a principal at a charter school, which is a type of public school, but it also competes with traditional public schools. Charter schools can accept any student from any area within a state, while traditional public schools are restricted to the districts that they serve. Charter schools also have more flexibility in their curriculum and their daily operations because they only have to abide by the charter that they receive from the government, so they don't have as much oversight as a regular school. Charter schools also receive public funding from taxpayers despite these two facts. So in a way, they're stealing taxpayer money from public schools. Brian is also vice chair of the South Carolina Education Oversight Committee, which reviews the state's education improvement process and assesses how schools are doing. They also make funding recommendations to the General Assembly. I wonder how could I, as Dr. Brian Newsom, who loves cheating, who's a principal at a charter school, and who's a board member at an alternative certification program, abuse my power as vice chair of the South Carolina Education Oversight Committee, who recommends how money should be spent on schools and who recommends policies that should be pushed. I know, I would say that traditional public schools are failing and that we should push for scholarship trust funds like the ones that I spoke about in my last video so that people can go to my school while stealing money from public schools. I would also push for a non-certified teacher program so that we can give traditional public schools teachers that aren't qualified so that my teachers seem way better in comparison. And all the while, I can seem like the good guy that's addressing the teacher shortage, the one that I made up. I can even be a board member at an alternative certification program to earn an extra bit of money while basically doing nothing and certifying teachers that I know aren't qualified because I don't want traditional public schools to get better. Maybe I can even convince the General Assembly that charter schools deserve more funding because they're doing so well. That way, I'm sort of giving myself a raise because I'm a principal at one. I gotta give myself a pat on the back. I really am a genius. I hope no one figures out what I'm doing or actually looks at anything, because then they might realize that charter schools regularly fail and close, which means all the taxpayer money that went into them was wasted. Nah, they're too dumb. Yeah, as you can see, Cheating Brian has multiple conflicts of interest. It's time to give Cheating Brian a break for now and move on to the head board member, Stu Rodman, who really likes to stir the pot. If I were to rephrase the title of this article, it would read, Crooked Chairman Stu Rodman, kicked out of county council, cries when having to face consequences of actions. He broke rules, tried to act like only he mattered by making unilateral decisions, and tried to control what public employees did despite his job being only to set policy, not to manage employees. Not only that, Sneaky Stu didn't want the public to know what he was up to. No one liked this guy, and I mean no one, because all 11 members of the county council voted to kick this guy out. Several acknowledged his abuse of power, including setting agendas and canceling meetings without discussing with anyone else. He also doesn't respect women. He showed unprofessional behavior towards Ashley Jacobs. He also called citizens restless and Indians in a personal email. Now I know why he was trying to be so sneaky. Before being kicked out for 90 minutes, he repeatedly asked the county council what he did wrong, and in reply to the answers that he got, he said, "What else?" Funny enough, Sneaky Stu said he felt he did nothing wrong, just like cheating Brian. That's gonna have to be strike 2 for upholding accountability. As we can see, Teach Right USA isn't teaching anyone or anything right, unless you agree with cheating and literally no one liking you. I just want to say this was the first and only certification program that I looked into. And I didn't even look into the third and final member of the board, but I hope this paints a picture of the type of people that are in charge. I'm going to go ahead and say if these two crooks are allowed to help certify teachers by the Republicans in charge, then there's probably a lot more crooks within the other ones. In conclusion, Republicans in South Carolina want traditional public schools to fail because they don't want to give our children the best education they can get. They only care about making money and making the next generation stupid so that they can keep their positions of power and keep making even more money. Keep yourself informed and don't fall for their tricks. It doesn't even matter which party it is either. Don't align yourself with one party and not look into things further. Yes, that includes the Democratic Party. There's people who will try to take advantage of you, who will act like they're good. They want to keep us dumb. They want to make money off of us. So speak up for yourself and for everyone else, because no one else will. These people definitely speak up. They have no problem whatsoever doing so because they benefit, just like we could. Anyway, this is why education matters. Sorry, so good. It's because you get replies like this one from my good friend in South Carolina, where they definitely need to be doing better because, as Donnie would put it,
they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us.
Like, share, and follow for more informational videos. But for now, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.